We're going to Ctrl+F this.
Ctrl+F it all.
That's going to be our first shirt.
Ctrl+F this. I like it. I'll get on that.
When things are wrong, I'll be by your side. Stop living a lie, even when you want to cry.
Which is pretty much always
Pretty much.
these
Sound
days.
advice, 100% of the time, every time.
Oh, I meant even when you want to cry. It's just pretty much always nowadays.
100% of the time.
100% of the time.
Every time. I said what I meant.
60% of the time it works every time.
And if not, cry some more.
It's made with real Panther, so you know it's good.
It's made with real liberal tears, so you know it's good.
So you know it's good.
Welcome to the Naked Apple.
Speaking of which, I had heard that Dave Shapiro was planning on freeing all of the libs that he's owned in the last few years.
Thank you and good night.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Well, you live
I
here.
live here, so it's actually not unfortunately. I like where I live.
This is the best that could have happened.
Found out today that it's actually much more free than Texas. My buddy just moved to Texas and he's pissed because he can't carry his firearm in view, like can't open carry it in his vehicle.
But he can open carry it
You have to have a permit
to open
in
carry.
Texas.
Oh. Well then.
And in fact, you have to have a permit in Texas to carry it most places,
I remember when
regardless
Texas,
of open or concealed.
I remember when Texas was so great you could shoot someone for spitting on your lawn.
I mean,
Used to be legal. Currently,
what blows me away is that it's like pretty much every other state is like your vehicle is an extension of your property, your home.
Right.
So you can carry however you want in your vehicle, other than, like California, but California is bullshit anyway. So.
Right.
Yeah, but Texas, like you can't even open carry in your vehicle? What the hell?
So no gun racks?
Seriously?
I guess that's technically not carrying, right?
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be
So
on your person.
gun
so
rack is
I would
fine?
assume the gun rack would be fine.
It's okay to have a
It's
saw
okay to
loaded
have it in view as long as it isn't in view on your person.
This is the place that has a company that you can pay them to take you up in a helicopter and shoot at pigs, wild pigs, with
Yeah. No, I was looking at
machine gun out of the.
I was looking at the gun laws in Texas earlier, and I was like, these are bullshit. Like, seriously, what the hell, Texas?
Yeah.
What did you do? Who did this to you?
Now we just got to fix Utah so it doesn't have to be 3 steps from firing. We're good to go for open carry.
It has to be 3 steps?
Yes.
Draw, rack. Yeah, I guess that is 3 steps, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
You can't carry one in the chamber.
Yep.
Unless you have a concealed permit, then you can. Oh, but
Nope.
it's now constitutional carry.
It's now constitutional carry, but still, as soon as it's open carry,
You can
that
still
does
get a
not
concealed
apply.
carry permit. In fact, concealed carry permits have other perks too, such as being able to carry concealed on a school property and
legally.
various other places. Well, technically everywhere is legal if you're not a little bitch. So
Wrong. In the words of Homer Simpson, it's only illegal if you get caught.
Worst day so far.
So far. The U.S. has 200 million registered guns. Or the U.S. has 200 million guns. 200 million registered guns.
Registered guns. The ones you don't know about can't hurt me.
Mm-hmm. We have a warrant to confiscate these. No, you have a warrant to confiscate these 3. Those 50 stay here.
Stay here. And unfortunately for you, these 3 actually aren't the 3 listed here. Those 3 were lost in a tragic boating accident.
As you can see, the serial numbers do not match. There's no serial number on there. Yep.
Exactly. Did you file the serial number off? Nope, it came that way.
That's how it came. I made it here myself.
I made it here myself.
That's what's fun. So Utah, you can make your own gun. You can make your own suppressor. And it is legal so long as you don't sell it or take it outside of the state of Utah. But if a federal employee of sorts shows up and says, hey, what are you doing with that suppressor that has no serial number that you're firing off out here in the West Desert?
You mean this suppressor that's made out of a Coke bottle? So it's about the only thing I might be able to figure out how to make.
Federally, you can still get slapped with all those federal fines and imprisonment, even though it is legal to do so in the state.
Can you even really make a suppressor out of a Coke bottle? I know that's been a
yes,
like
but it only works for a couple of shots.
Well, I only need it to work for a couple of shots. Coke bottles are cheap, man. Make as many as you want.
It's the best use of a Coke bottle after their recent Be Less White stint.
The only way to be less white is to shoot black guns through the Coke bottle. It's the best way to go.
It makes them... Wait. I don't get it.
Black guns matter. Don't worry about it.
Wow.
I'm going straight to Facebook jail.
They tried to put us there before when we slapped their hand.
We did.
Hey, you guys need to... No. Okay.
Not today, Facebook. Not today.
Get behind me, Facebook.
Thou shalt not pass.
Then YouTube actually threw us in and we unlocked the door and let ourselves out and reposted the video.
Thou shalt not censor.
And then for whatever reason, Rumble and all these other things that we're trying to do won't let us upload.
It's because...
Don't get it.
Because they're fruitist.
So the last few videos will probably be on YouTube. Not that most of you listeners watch the YouTube.
Why isn't Rumble letting you post?
I don't know. It's always an error has occurred whenever it finally finishes after an hour, 2 hours, however long it takes to upload.
Maybe we should try to make tonight a short episode and we can try here.
I mean, you got faster upload in general, so.
I do, so.
With that.
That is a video of someone cutting a buffalo cake. That's interesting.
Buffalo cake.
Very real looking buffalo cake. I mean, it looks like a wood statue. Anyway. Moving on.
Should we get our vitamin B? Because we're probably going to get a little livid.
Oh, yeah.
I had stuff prepped, and then I stumbled across something. And I don't care much for what we have prepped anymore.
Yeah, well, it's all right. We'll just throw everything in the links below. Everybody can go look at what we had.
You can see what we thought was important.
You can see what we thought was important.
Until we found
we'll
something
just
kind of more important.
Talk about other things for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go. So let's do some vitamin B. I think it's a good idea. I think I need to grow. We're online. Welcome to Vitamin B.
That break gets shorter every
It
time.
gets every time. It just sneaks right up on you. But seriously, I think I should grow a mustache. I think
good.
I think it'd be a good idea.
Mm-hmm. The smaller, the better. The closer you can get the edges of it to your nose, the better.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
Charlie Chaplin, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I could wear a bowler hat.
Yes.
I could be bowler hat guy.
Ooh, we should bring back, we should reinvent
The wheel?
in a roundabout way. Boo! Boo! No, we should. Charlie Chaplin, you know, he was in the quiet films, right? The silent films.
Okay.
What if we did a silent podcast?
I'm not sure how well that would go over. Just release an hour of nothing.
Just hear the mouse click every once in a while.
Mouse click every once in a while.
We'll put some music in there, like the
Do a
silent
filter
films
on the
have.
video so it's all black and white and like janky.
And some plunky piano playing in the background.
Speaking of movies, we have some entertainment news today.
Oh, perfect segue.
Christian movies are way too preachy, says man who clearly hasn't watched a Netflix show recently.
Wait, what is that? I don't.
It's all right. You'll get it when you're older. So, we have political news. Lots of political news. There's always political news.
When is there not?
Absent-minded Joe Biden accidentally mails stimulus checks to defense contractors instead of Americans.
That has nothing to do with Raytheon being in his cabinet.
Nothing at all. And a proud Obama awards his Nobel Peace Prize to Biden for bombing Syria.
What a generous soul.
On that note as well, many Middle Eastern homes have begun to mark their doorways with gay pride flag colors to protect themselves from drone bombings.
The drone of death. That's terrible.
Biden to give first address to Congress after he wakes up in the spring.
It's springtime for Biden in USA.
Also, Democrats offer compromise that unborn babies are 3/5 of a person. This sounds vaguely familiar.
I've seen this one before.
Seen this one before. It's almost like it's what they do after claiming someone isn't a real person for several years.
Feels like it should be a clause.
In other news, Cuomo tries to divert attention from sex scandal by reminding everyone of nursing home scandal.
Makes sense.
And Texas has removed their mask mandate to scare away all of the Californians.
Makes sense to me.
And now for a word from our sponsor. Public school teachers are issuing students their summer book burning lists. Make sure you get yours today.
So who's this a sponsor?
That was it.
That
was public school teachers.
Oh, .com.
Yeah, that's the one.
Right. Make sure you go there. You get 30% extra.
Yeah, 30% extra books to burn.
Yeah.
And to wrap things up, your
Use the
entertainment
promo
news.
code Y.
In your entertainment news, to wrap things up, we don't like Cuomo now, says every late night host in perfect robotic unison.
Yes, it's about time they synchronize that.
I thought the Babylon Bee was supposed to be a satire site. I questioned my job.
Woo!
It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Great thing that goes on there.
If you want to have a lot of fun or not a lot of fun, depending on who you are and how chaotic and evil you want to be, you can go to the NPR's Facebook page.
Oh, I thought you were going to suggest watching the Golden Globe Awards.
No, I don't want you.
Which-
I don't want you to.
I heard that yet again, the award for not being a pervert went unclaimed.
Oh, there's just so many to pick from. You can't narrow it down to just one.
For not being a pervert?
Oh,
Not. The operative word there is
Not.
not.
there's a little glitch
For
there.
not
I missed
being
the
a
not.
pervert.
Well, since they got rid of Gina Carano, they had no one to
They
really.
don't have anybody to fall back on for that award this year.
Darn it!
This is she was canceled. The award goes out the window.
Missed it by that much. But no, if you want to have some fun and see how different people are across the country, depending on where you get your news, go to NPR's Facebook page and look at the comment section on their story of Texas getting rid of mask mandates and letting restaurants be 100% open. Holy cow. Apparently Texas just wants people to die, according to everyone on the comment section. And they're calling it out for a political stunt, which I kind of partially agree with. He's up for re-election next year.
Hey, I bet. Hate that guy.
Yeah. But not to be overdone, was it Mississippi? Said, hey, we're not doing masks or closed restaurants either. So, yeah.
In the meantime, South Dakota has felt very neglected in the last 24 hours.
We haven't done that at all. Why are they in the news? Why is
I lapped you guys 5 times before I won. What's going on here?
on your left? South Dakota was Captain America running laps around the reflection pond.
On your left.
No,
Come on, man.
That's what it is. Well, since we're here with mask stuff, why don't we talk about I don't know which one it is. Let's pat ourselves on the back, because that's always fun. I get a thrill out of beating all these high-funded organizations. Maybe if I pull it up on the actual computer that shows it on the recording, that
Might help a little bit.
be beneficial to us getting this to do what we want. The New York Times tweeted out some handy-dandy little animations to show how opening a window can drastically stem coronavirus circulation in classrooms.
You know how they tested this? They had 5-year-olds sit in a room and fart and see what they did to dissipate the smell.
Most of the kids didn't smell it, so they presumed that they all had COVID. No, they so was it last week I did my whole COVID spiel? I think so, because we had 2 episodes. So yes, of just this dump of studies that apparently don't matter anymore in the scientific community. One of which was referenced that airflow kind of affects how droplets move about the air. Most of which just fall to the ground relatively quickly, especially in properly ventilated buildings and rooms, because that's how ventilation works in properly ventilated buildings and rooms, is the air goes down and then sucked in from the ground back into the top after it's filtered, blah, blah, blah. New York Times did some handy-dandy things to show that if you have proper circulation, COVID doesn't spread as easily. Good job, New York Times. Hey, here's one right here. This is nice. So you look at all this filth just spreading. Stupid animations. Make no sense. Even though they are wearing masks, the student's breath still circulates around the room where others can inhale it. So the mask doesn't
I actually just sent you a video
block the...
that really kind of it gives a good visual of how it works.
Right.
It's in the email.
Yes, I'm pulling it up.
Hey guys, does double
right
masking
now.
work against coronavirus's transport? Let's find out. First, we're going to
Expert demonstrates efficacy
Reply.
of double masks. See, watch how well it works.
Moisture expert. I
one.
wonder how they found a moisture expert.
Here's 2.
See how well that works.
So well. So very well.
Next, we're going to try a cloth mask. Remember, we want to stop this moisture that's coming out of our mouth because that's what COVID rides on.
So they're doing this. Wasn't this guy doing this to show how well it works?
Yes.
Because
Because this is clearly showing that it works.
to stop it
That
from
this
coming
is- this
straight
is
out
how,
of his mouth.
This is how well it works. It works this well.
There's 1.
There's one. See how all that fog goes right
There's
to
two.
the camera. Wait.
Yep. Which he's facing. But when he puts a second
Next,
one
we're gonna
on,
try
it
an
goes up
N95
and
with a
around
cloth mask.
and then towards the camera. So it's less. You don't have as much.
So I'd like to point out, he's got the N95 here, right?
He's also not as breathing as hard with it on as he was with the others.
Maybe because he's a little out of breath from trying to breathe through a couple of coats. But so N95 mask. In the instructions for N95 masks and the CDC and various other studies and hospital training videos, N95 masks only works if it is sealed against your face.
Yes. This is why.
See,
Because
how
I'm pretty
well-
sure his stating that it was to show that they are effective was
There's one.
satire.
Here's cloth mask on the N95.
cloth mask.
There's 1. Here's cloth mask on the N95.
Yeah, right there.
Over the top.
Yep. And it's still coming out the same spots it was coming out before.
Now we're going to try.
I bet his wife is really
N95s.
impressed with the fact that he can breathe through his ears.
That's bad.
Well, that's where the breath is coming out. Look, it's right there.
And out the top of his head. He's just
Oh,
steaming.
yeah. It's just
So we can see that double masking definitely does work, help knock down the moisture. Some double mask more than others. So use this information as your shield, as it were, against this invisible enemy, coronavirus's transport. Don't get vaporized.
I don't know if that was satire.
I'm pretty sure that was satire. It has to be satire because there was 0 done there that showed that it was blocking anything. It's just coming out around everywhere.
If you've ever seen someone vape, that's basically what we watched.
Yes, pretty much.
For those that are, holy crap!
I hit a nerve.
Wait till I read the study that I found while I was trying to not find studies.
Okay, a simple wrong would have done just fine, but
Except for Fauci, wrong just isn't enough. God himself could come down and tell Fauci he's wrong, and he'd turn around. Well, the
Wrong.
science is evolving, which is still it. You're wrong.
Wrong is less of a.
You've been wrong for the last 5 decades. You've been in this position.
Wrong is less of an event for him and more of a personal jihad.
Mr. Fauci, there's all this evidence saying that everything we're saying is wrong. Damn the torpedoes, full steam ahead. We will brute force our way to the truth that I know isn't there. So a lie? I wasn't lying. I was just misdirecting the people.
So lie.
Yeah. So even though they are wearing masks, the student's breath still circulates around the room. Ooh, shocker. Who would have seen that? Oh, we did, because we looked at we followed the science. When an infected student is in the room, contamination from the student's breath spreads quickly. With little fresh air, it continues to accumulate and circulate. Huh. Look at that. It just goes all around the room. And then when an infected student is in the room, contamination from the student's breath spreads quickly with... Oh, that's the same thing. Why is it the same thing? Business Insider, you are lame. So, if we add a simple air cleaner with a HEPA filter and a box fan that blows air in through the window, would further dilute any contaminants. So, if we actually get airflow in the classroom, it doesn't spread as easily and it kind of just goes away. See, that's one thing that their little things don't show well here is it looks like these little things by the windows are the old school heater elements that would blow air up and over, and then it would kind of come down as it's sucked into those elements. So everything would go up and then circulate down to the floor and get sucked into here where it should be filtered. Or if it's a more modern school and not whatever they're referencing in New York City or something, it's got proper air handling throughout the room to properly circulate air so that it's not stagnant and so things like this don't stay. So, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we're just a couple of guys doing a podcast, figuring things out.
We're not even in a basement right now.
No, we have upgraded from the basement. We were downgraded to the basement, and now we've upgraded from the basement.
And then we're going to upgrade back to the basement at some point.
Yes, upgrade to the basement. It will be an upgrade.
Potentially. Depends on how well I build it.
Upgrade complete. Well, if we can get a nice little fern in there or something, it'd be pretty good.
2 of them?
At least.
We can sit between them?
Between the ferns. What you did there, I see it. So, a study I stumbled across while not trying to find studies, especially mask-related studies. I stumbled across something that where'd you go? I'll find it. Find it.
Will you? Will you find it?
Yep.
Are you sure?
The title, this is what grabbed my attention scrolling through the search results. Is routine use of face masks necessary in the operating room?
Huh.
Probably. I'm going to click on that.
I mean, I would think that...
Now, this was done clear back in 2010, way back in ancient days. Before
way back.
Before, studies and things could be properly executed. But this this is from ASA Publications. I have no idea who this is. Something about anesthesiology. But they found that they go a little bit into the history of masks and all this stuff and some evidence that shows this, that, and the other. They say anesthesia personnel are no longer required to wear disposable face masks in the operating room, a practice approved by our surgical colleagues. Surgeons, their assistants, and scrub nurses are still required to wear masks. Well, why is that? We noted before in last week that studies show that masks are used in the operating room to keep sweat and whatever droplets from getting from the surgeons into the area that they're working and whatever splatter from going directly into surgeons' faces and all that. But this says Face masks are worn by all operating room personnel when treating patients susceptible to infections, as in neurosurgery and blah, blah, blah. Face masks are also used to protect staff from contamination. All personnel wear face masks when taking care of trauma patients or patients with bloodborne infections. Our decision to no longer require routine surgical masks for personnel not scrubbed for surgery is a departure from common practice, but the evidence to support this practice does not exist. And studies to establish differences in infection rates with or without face masks will likely be difficult to design and implement given the small potential effect. Huh. 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 So yeah, that's this is
Well then.
just happened across that one. Yeah. The scientists are saying that they think the COVID vaccine will act like vaccines act. Which
Really?
we said before that that's what vaccines do,
Yes.
is they vaccinate you from stuff.
Is this because it'll actually work like the vaccines are supposed to work, or because they're trying to quell everybody's concern that it's more of a treatment than a vaccine?
I don't know. This is from the Washington Post.
I mean, the new one that's an actual vaccine, like traditional vaccine, just came out too. So
Johnson & Johnson. Yes.
yes.
So this is from the Washington Post. Getting the vaccine will protect you from the coronavirus, and it may keep people around you healthier too.
I wonder if either one of those Johnsons' first name was Richard.
What if they both were? I'll let you fiddle that one out.
If they got cremated, you could put them in a bag. Have a bag of Richards.
Bad. Health experts say the coronavirus vaccines may do more than protect recipients from COVID-19. Now, I do recall we mentioned something about vaccines helping people that don't get the vaccine. Researchers say people who are vaccinated and still contract the virus may carry less of it and also shed less of it, meaning those whom they expose to it may not become sick.
As sick. You know, it's almost like that thing that I was talking about back at the beginning where, you know, keeping people home actually increases how bad the infection gets when it spreads, because like when you get sick, when you get really sick, you don't go to work. But when you get a little sick, or you get sick and you don't go to work and then you feel better and you go back to work.
Back to work, yeah.
You know, it's because your body's already fighting the virus, so what you're shedding isn't like full strength virus, it's what your body's already fought.
Right.
So then the people that catch it from you catch a weakened version of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, you know, makes it less bad as it spreads, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. I'm not a doctor. I just play the game Pandemic, okay? Don't be a dick. Or a Richard Johnson in this case.
And we also pointed towards a couple of studies that said just as much.
Yeah,
and then Washington Post, there isn't a lot of evidence yet to support this hypothesis, but researchers say it is likely the case based largely on observation in animal studies, as well as some preliminary research in humans. So here's the timeline of events. In January, there's not really a whole lot going on. There's a little bit of talk of what the heck is going on in China. They're welding people into their houses.
Well.
And then February rolls around and there's talks of bats in your soup and stuff. And Fauci comes out and says, there's no need to worry. No need to worry. And we get into March.
It's fine. It's fine. Everything's
We
under
get into
control.
March. Hey, it's March. A year ago this month. And you have Fauci saying, don't go out and get masks. We need to say, we don't need They don't work. Don't get the masks. They don't work. And then we have Fauci and others saying, stop buying masks because we need them for the health professionals. But you just said
The fact checker determined that was a lie.
you just said that they don't work, and now you're saying that don't buy them because the health professionals need them. But if they don't work, why do the health professionals need them? Oh, that's because you were citing studies that said that they don't work. Fast forward through a bunch of flip-flops, and then science finding that, hey, the sun actually kills the coronavirus like it does every other virus.
The big yellow one is the sun.
Hey, the chlorine in pools actually kills the virus, so you don't have to worry about that when you're swimming, just like every other virus. Hey, UV light kills the virus, just like every other virus.
But
Hand
wear 2
sanitizer.
masks to be protected.
Hand sanitizer kills the virus. Soap kills the virus, just like every other virus. And then a vaccine is on the horizon. That we were told probably wouldn't happen for a couple years, if not 7 years. And a vaccine comes, and Donald Trump gets 0 credit for putting the team together to make that happen.
Not 0 credit. There was that one guy at the that one news thing. You're just taking credit for something that, the previous administration
that
did.
was last month.
Oh, okay.
So then the vaccine is actually like, yeah, we're actually going to have it in November. We're going to have viable vaccine in November. Well, and we were told once we get the vaccine, we can go back to normal. Oh, well, now that we have the vaccine, we got to make sure it's actually working in actual environment.
And why is that, Mr. Reed?
Because it's devastating to my case.
Overruled.
Good call.
Yeah, because, the vaccine was proving to work in actual use, not just in a controlled test setting.
It's coming too early. We can't let that get out.
And wouldn't you know, production was extremely high right off the bat, to the point where it was already at 1 million doses before Donald Trump left office each day.
Mm-hmm. Which was hilarious, because then Biden gets in office and is like, we want to have 10 million vaccinations in the first 10 days.
It was 100 million doses in 100 days.
100 million doses in 100 days.
So 1 million doses a day. Yes. Okay. It was at 1.2 when you took office.
So
The
your
peak was
goal is to
1.4.
vaccinate less people?
So the peak of it was 1.4. So they adjusted it to their goal being 1.2. And then we're told, well, even if you're vaccinated, you need to still wear a mask, because
In fact, you should wear 2 of them.
we don't know exactly what would happen if you're doing that, and we don't know how
While
this
we're on the
responds.
subject, you should wear 2 swimming trunks when you go swimming, so that when you pee, it doesn't go in the pool.
Yes. Makes sense to me. And then we're told, well, life can't get back to normal until this percent of the population is vaccinated, this percent of the population is vaccinated, this percent of the population is vaccinated. Why do you keep changing the numbers, Dr. Fauci?
How many times are you going to move the goalposts?
Well, I had to lie, because I had to deliberately lie in order to get people to think that what I was saying was detrimental to their health, because it is. What I'm saying is terrible advice, but you need to accept it, because yes,
You had to lie because you're a liar.
we have to lie to the public in order to gain the public's trust. And now here we are with the most recent thing from Fauci being something along the lines of sometime next year we can take off our masks.
Sometime next year?
Yes, after Christmas.
It's like as in more than 12 months from now.
Yes. Even though
There's a
by that
phrase
point,
I want to say that involves cactuses.
even though by that point,
And
technically
Him
everyone
fornicating something.
could have been vaccinated. But that's not what they want. Instead, they want to pass a relief bill. Because nothing says COVID relief like a $1.9 trillion spending bill.
Nothing says we're going to make this better, like giving money to other countries.
What if you let us just do what we did before all of this happened?
Well, Texas is doing that.
And Mississippi, right?
Yep. And South Dakota really never
South
stopped
Dakota
doing
never stopped
that.
being awesome. Turns out South Dakota's awesome. Who knew?
There's a gnome that I know of that
Particular gnome.
it's a particular gnome that was involved.
So this relief bill, we talked about it briefly before because it had the stupid $15 minimum wage thing in it. And
Among other things
I
that
think
were all
that's been
so equally stupid.
I think that's been officially nixed from it, but I can't tell anymore because there's all kinds of stories saying it is not, it is not, so I don't know.
Who knows what is or isn't in these bills anymore? You have to pass them to find out what's in them.
You basically, it comes down to last minute edits and blah, 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 and then they vote on it, send it through, and the edit that they put in was like 100 pages long. Did you read it all? I mean, I know the gist of it. Yeah, but
Hey,
did you read it?
I skimmed. I skimmed it.
I saw that my district was receiving the money that I wanted it to get, so I thought it was fine. Like the,
And this is why democracy is a failure, because you take something to a democracy, to a group of people, and you say, for instance, that this group of people, this thing that we're doing will benefit everyone that can touch their heel to the back of their head. And if there's a majority group that can touch the heel to the back of their head, then they go, oh yeah, I'll vote yes for that because I can do that.
Yeah.
And so they go in and vote yes for that, and if they're the majority, they automatically win.
woohoo.
The rest of us that can't touch our heel to the back of our heads get screwed.
Yeah, so Republicans tried to call him out on it twice, actually. The first time was, what was it? I can't remember the first one now. But this is the second one they tried after the first one was voted no, because they don't. Oh, it was...
You had it?
I had it and it's gone.
You had it and you lost it.
Just like the transit system they want to put in the California.
Yes.
But anyways, they decided, Republicans proposed, hey, since this is supposed to help people that are suffering from COVID and all that, how about we take the money that you would be spending on farm loan assistance for socially disadvantaged farmers and ranchers, National Endowment of the Arts, National Endowment for the Humanities, Institute of Museum and Library Services, vaccine confidence activities, global health initiatives, family planning, capital investment grants, National Railroad Passenger Corporation grants, and special financial assistance programs for the financially troubled multi-employer plans, and just give people straight checks from all that money, which would equate to about $10,000 per person. No, we can't do that.
No,
Can't do that. Can't do that at all because it's pointed out. This has been fact checked hilariously, in my opinion, because there's the only 9% of the $1.9 trillion is related to COVID-19.
Well, no, it's not, because this much is going to this agency to help promote and investigate how to safely open schools.
Okay, but what does that have to do with the actual COVID
it doesn't have anything to do with the actual COVID
Vaccine.
vaccine or
and
COVID relief.
It's real simple on the school front to
Just go back to school.
go back to school.
You don't need to spend more money to
It
do
costs-
what we were already doing.
It costs all of $0 because you're already paying
This is
everyone
This is simple.
for that.
Go back to school. If there's a teacher that refuses to go back to school and do their job, then they are quitting because they're pulling a no-call, no-show.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Obviously, if there are at-risk, like really badly at-risk teachers,
Yeah, if they got heart condition, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
set them up with online whatever if you can, but logistically, seriously, just go the F back to school.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Interesting to point out, too, is there's still $1 trillion left over from the previous relief bill
yes.
that hasn't been really allocated to anything.
Yeah.
And also include, I don't know why this wasn't removed from here. It probably falls into one of these categories. But there's a bailout for the airlines in this current one because the first bailout that they got from the first relief bill wasn't enough.
But it's 10 times what their projected amount was.
There's that.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Because wasn't it like they projected that it would be like 20 million or 20 billion or something like that?
Oh, you're talking about the school?
Yeah, the school.
Yeah, the school
Yeah.
opening thing, the CDC recommends $25 billion.
Yeah, $25 billion,
to
and they are-
safely reopen schools.
The first round, they gave them how much?
The first round, they gave them, it was $160 billion?
And this new one, they're giving them
Something like 80-something billion?
total of 240.
Just north of 200. The total was just north of 200 billion.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's only 8 times what the CDC
Only 8
recommends
times what
to safely
was
open
recommended
schools.
to safely reopen schools.
But hey, you're going to get 6 miles of track between Silicon Slopes and wherever. Because riding a bicycle is not feasible, I
Right.
guess.
Or walking, or literally anything.
Or literally anything that you're currently doing. Where are we at? What are we doing?
Well,
Where are we at?
that was all COVID stuff.
That was basically all the COVID stuff.
I mean, we've got all of the political stuff, like censoring
I will-
Biden's mental health.
I just real quick want to touch on the political fight at the federal level is basically moot at this point.
yeah.
We still need to focus on making sure good senators and blah, blah, blah are there to at least try to hold the line so it doesn't get worse while we actually focus on our states, our individual states. Because technically, the federal government doesn't have a whole lot of wiggle room when a state says, no.
At least they're not supposed to.
They're not supposed to.
But, yeah.
Case in
What do you think? That's what they do. They can make up anything.
Case in point, marijuana.
Mary Jane.
States started saying, you know what? It's not illegal. Federal government still, but it is illegal. That's cool that you see that, but we're not sending any cases to you.
Yeah.
Oh. And if you come here, we're going to tell you to leave because
Which
reasons.
the states can legally do.
Yep. Anyway,
Reject the aid.
reject the aid. Anyway,
Little rubber stamp.
yeah.
Rejected.
So here in Utah, I found out that there is a bill in the legislature. I found this because I saw a story that was the Humane Society wants a bill passed to keep people from transporting dogs in the back of their truck.
¿Por qué?
Well, because people would call the Humane Society concerned that there's dogs being transported in the back of people's trucks.
Okay. Why?
And if you're transporting a dog in the back of your truck and the back isn't covered or the dog isn't tied down to the bed of the truck, you can get a ticket
For
for having your dog in the back of your truck.
why?
Well, it probably scares the dog. And
Have you ever watched a dog in the back of a truck?
happiest animals I've ever
Ever seen?
Unless it's their first ride. You know it's the first ride for the dog. but that fades pretty quick.
Pretty quick.
But I found out about that because I saw this headline. I was like, that is stupid. And then I saw something stupider. Yes, I know it's not a word, but
Boss stupid?
yeah. Two Utah lawmakers present different bills to raise the minimum wage. Now,
Oh, yes, I saw this.
to be clear, if a minimum wage hike is to happen, I prefer the states to do the minimum wage because they can it's less cookie cutter that way, because a minimum wage in New York to survive, quote unquote, isn't the same as minimum wage in Wyoming to survive.
Yes.
That being said, no.
Right.
Just no.
But we should follow social programs like Denmark and Sweden.
We should. So Utah's
Don't have a minimum wage.
minimum wage is $7.50 an hour.
Yes.
It's significantly lower than 29 other states.
I don't care about 29 other states. I care about Utah.
Yeah. Up until recently, Utah's been pretty cheap to live in.
Very, very recently.
And like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then California happened.
Quit Californiaing my Utah.
Pretty much. And it hasn't been raised since however long ago, forever ago, don't care, blah, blah, blah. So they want to raise it to $15 an hour by 2026. They want to start it at $12 an hour before July 1st, 2021. Wow. The bill also raises minimum wage for tipped employees to $5 an hour from $2.13, because that won't raise the prices of your food at all when you go to the restaurant. This gives Utah a chance to lead a family-friendly state, blah, 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 blah. Garbage. Why is it garbage? Well, because I was curious about the wage demographics of Utah. Here it is. Look.
Ooh.
There's the median.
Wow.
The median household income is $71,000 a year. Which is a combined, this was in 2018, the data that they have. And Salt Lake City, this top one here, is way above that. 73,000. That equates to 36. No. It's like $33 an hour. Combined wage for the household income, if it's husband and wife, whatever. And then wage by gender. So Utah is a very unique economy from other states because culturally, the culture of Utah for men and women working is extremely different than like California and New York of men and women working. So the average male salary in Utah is $67,000 and the average female salary is just shy of $45,000. Both of which are still above $15 an hour on average. And then break it down by race because you have to. And then we get to.
Wow. That race one is actually interesting.
The
average for other managers is like super high for 2 or more races. Asians are like winning, which really isn't surprising.
Which isn't surprising
at all.
Then we get down to it's funny that so the definition for poverty is an interesting one because technically my wife and I fall under poverty guidelines.
Really?
Yeah, because we don't earn enough as a couple. We don't earn enough to be above the poverty line. But I'm not scrimping for food.
I was going to say, that is rather shocking, honestly.
Yeah. So there's poverty by race. Oh, look. Whites are the most impoverished.
Well, that's because there's more of them than any other.
Oh.
Isn't
Anyway.
that how that works?
In a rational world, yes. Then we get the one that I was really looking for was, where are you?
It's Pacific Islanders are the lowest because, I mean, they're all employed in construction and football, so.
Construction and football. Oh, here it is. I went past it. The wage distribution. So this is how much. So all of the data points they get of tax forms basically being filled out. This is how much people earn each year. So $15 an hour is just barely north of $30,000 a year. So this little group right here, right? So you take that all added together, 14 is 42% of the population is below the $15 minimum wage for earnings, just off the yearly stats thing. Because I couldn't find exactly how many people were actually making minimum wage in Utah.
So let's see.
Because basically all they have to go off of is when you fill out your W-2, you made this much in the year. Whether you worked 30 hours and got $10,000 or you worked 500 hours and got $10,000, it doesn't really show up.
That's so adding those percentages up, you're 41%.
41%. Hey, I was close for guessing. Now, here's something that's unique about Utah. Utah does a lot of Etsy stuff.
Uh-huh.
If you're a stay-at-home mom and you make and sell little Etsy onesies that you do with your vinyl printer or whatever it is, or your screen printer, and you make $15,000 a year off of that, it's plugged into that as earning $15,000 a year. The mom, the hours that she worked, most likely did not add up to minimum wage for that thing. Otherwise, she probably wouldn't be doing it. So what I presume is happening with this bill is they're looking at this. Oh, there's 41% of Utah is below $15 an hour. And poverty is at $40,000 a year, or something like that. We need to help these people. But yeah, so and then with that, I needed to find out, well, how much of Utah is small business. Turns out a lot of Utah is small business. 46.3% of Utah employees work for or own a small business. Small businesses account for 99.3% of Utah's businesses. And keep in mind, the stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad, whichever, that's doing the little Etsy projects, owns a business at home. And it's a small business. Mm-hmm. And it counts as one of these things. Wow. No, I really thought that was interesting, though. 99% of Utah's businesses are small business.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, and now it's probably less than that because, yay. But yeah, Utah small businesses employ just over 500,000 people in the private workforce.
277,000 small businesses.
Uh-huh.
You said the percentage, but 277,000 small businesses.
Yep.
What?
Yeah. One thing I forgot from that last report. The top, was it producer? The top producing job in Utah was construction. Construction jobs were the number one production whatever thing. Elementary schools were number 2.
Really?
Yeah, in that last thing. If I was smart, I would have remembered that before I got rid of it.
Why you go getting rid of things like that?
I don't know. Oh, right here at the top. The highest paying industries, that's the word, are construction and mining and oil and gas field machinery manufacturing, agricultural, The largest industries in Utah are construction, 105,000 people, and then second, elementary and secondary schools. Look, the devil's number, 90,666 people are in
That makes a lot of sense.
elementary and second.
And then restaurants.
So what I take a little umbrage with here is, how is school an industry? Industry to me says you're producing goods and services. And schools don't really produce
They
goods
produce
and
people.
services. No, people produce people.
That's what I meant. Have you been to a high school?
Not going to say my joke now.
Ruined.
You're welcome.
But yeah, so if Utah wants to do this minimum wage hike, like we pointed out before, the average starting salary for teachers is just north of $15 an hour. The blue-collar jobs associated with elementary and secondary schools, your custodians, your grounds crew, your plumbers, electricians, things like that, they get paid piss poor salary for working in the school districts here. And there's a lot of kids that work after school to help clean up the school, and they get paid for it. Hooray, they start learning how to work and earn a living. By upping the minimum wage, they are saying that the kid that works a few hours to empty the trash cans in the classrooms deserves to be paid the same as the teachers whose classroom they're cleaning that they were in just hours before learning from that teacher. They deserve to be paid the same as those teachers. They're also saying that you can go and get education and pay for it and all that stuff to get a degree to teach, or you can just start mowing lawns and get paid exactly the same. Last I checked, there's not a lawn mowing degree at any university.
It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit.
So pay attention to what's going on in your states, because it matters.
Yeah.
And then the thing that made me stop looking at stuff. We'll just touch on it because we're cutting into that hour already.
Yeah, we are.
Where's my tab? This lovely little report. So if you remember,
here we go.
If you remember, the Trump administration pushed out the 1776 report project.
Something along those
Something like
lines.
that. The Biden administration on day 2 got rid of it.
Do you smell toast?
I smell a microphone. The tangents your mind takes are amazing.
Well, no, because the smell of burnt toast is a sign of a stroke.
Yes. Yes.
Just saying.
So this report has come out, Educating for American Democracy. We're not a democracy. We're not.
Not at all.
Serenity now.
Goose fraba. That's a button we need. Goose fraba.
Oh, goodness. So this report was put out because they believe that a lot of the strife that's going on in the United States has to do with people not understanding United States history and not understanding
Finally,
civics.
I agree wholeheartedly. Yes.
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 I agree. Which is why the 1776 thing was started.
Yes. Because things like the 1619 Project exist and are completely asinine.
Bolshevik at best. So I haven't had a chance to read through this entirely because it just came out today. And I'm afraid to read through the entire thing because just skimming it, I found issues.
Lots of them.
Like such as
The table of contents.
table of contents. Right at the beginning. America's constitutional democracy requires better civic and history education. Wait. Constitutional
You keep using the word.
democracy.
I don't think it means what you think it means.
Huh. Well, I did a Google search. What government is the United States? Federation. It's Federation of States. Presidential system. We have a president. Liberal democracy. I'm guessing the more classical
liberal.
Federal republic. Technically, yes. We are a federation of states underneath a republic. Constitutional republic.
Huh.
And that's it. And you can go to Wikipedia, even though we proved that Wikipedia is not a good source. Also, to pat our own backs, the guy that co-created Wikipedia said, yeah, it's completely biased and it's not at all a good place to use for sources.
Yeah. Yeah. About that.
But regardless.
We digress.
Since Wikipedia is confirmed by Wikipedia to be on the side of the people that made this report, I think it's fair to look at them to see what the definition is. Federal republic.
Look at that.
Darn,
Composed of 50 states, a
darn.
federal district.
Dang, darn, dang it. Anyway. Carry
Constitutional Federal Republic.
Huh.
Interesting.
Democracy was not in that definition.
Neither is it anywhere in the Constitution.
Yeah, and to put that into perspective for this thing, so now that we know it's a republic, and you should know already because we pointed this out multiple times.
All the time. Every time.
Every time. We're going to Ctrl+F this.
Control-F it all.
That's going to be our first shirt. Ctrl+F this.
I like it. I'll get on that. Control-F this.
Republic. Republic. How many times does republic show up in this report? 21 times. All right. Now let's find out how many times democratic shows up. 12 times. Democracy shows up 101 times. Oh. Interesting, Ivan. So then we scroll through. Executive summary, I didn't read it. It's probably full of Bolshevik. America's constitutional democracy requires better civic history and education. Does it? Self-governing people. Oh, that sounds nice. Must constantly attend to historic and civic education. Yeah. To the process by which the rising generation owns the past. Sure. Takes the helm and charts a course toward the future. All right. The United States is the longest lived constitutional
Republic.
we need to just scratch that out with red.
Their editor is bad.
Scratch that with red and insert republic. In the world, yes, approaching its 250th anniversary in 2026. An occasion that calls for both celebration and fresh commitment to the cause of self-government for free and equal citizens in a diverse society. Sure.
Yeah, okay.
I agree with that entire thing, except for
the one typo that they have.
Typo. Education in Civics and History equips members of a democratic society to understand. I guess you can technically use that there because we have a democratic process in our republic. To understand, appreciate, nurture, and where necessary, improve their political system and civil society. Okay, to make our union more perfect, as the U.S. Constitution says. Yes. This education must be designed to enable and enhance the capacity for self-government from the level of the individual, the family, and the neighborhood to the state, the nation, and even the world. Yes, that's exactly how the founders set it up, is from individual to the nation, and they didn't really care about the world. The only thing they cared about was France because they helped them. That's about it.
Well, and the
And even
Barbary
then-
pirates because,
Huh?
and the Barbary pirates because,
Well, that was more caring about themselves because the Barbary pirates were ruining their trade. They didn't care that the Barbary pirates were ruining other people's trade.
They wanted to help the Barbary pirates be the first to explore the sea bottoms.
In the words of George Washington, would to God I had a navy to beat them into non-existence or convert them to humanity. Okay, all right. So we're pretty good so far.
It's doing good so far.
The word civic denotes the virtues, assets, and activities that a free people need to govern themselves well. Yeah. When civic education succeeds, all people are prepared and motivated to participate effectively in civic life. Yeah. They acquire and share the knowledge, skills, and dispositions necessary for effective participation.
So we've got like the first 3 paragraphs there. Solid.
Except for
Good
the typos.
Except for the, couple of typos there, but doing great.
Paragraph 4. Equity is essential.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Thank you, Wilhelm.
Equity.
No. Negative.
See, you had me. You had me for 3 paragraphs.
You did. And then you screwed it up.
Then you said socialism also is essential, which is exactly contrary to everything
else you said
that you are trying to say.
For those that aren't quite grasping the idea here, so there's a difference between equity and equality.
Right.
Equality is the idea that everyone is granted the same opportunities.
So equity.
No. Equality. Equality. Everybody gets the same chance.
Equity.
So you can go apply for a job and there's a good chance you can get it. You can find a job. That's equality. Everyone has the opportunity to go find a job.
Sounds like you're describing equity.
Equality. No. Equity is when special what's the word I'm looking for? Things are made to
Programs.
Yeah, special programs, special exceptions, all these kinds of things are made to slightly tilt the scale a little bit in favor of those that might or might not, but seem to be less fortunate than others. So say that you and your friend who are pretty much the same. You're both the same color. You're the same height. You're the same age. Whatever. You go and apply for a job. You get a job, and he does not get a job. You have a job, so you continue on,
That's not equality.
Yes, that is equality. You both applied for a job. He got the job. You can go apply for another job. That's equality.
No, because I didn't get that job.
You both go apply for a job. He gets the job. You don't get the job. And rather than going and finding another job, you are given a handout. That's equity. And that's bullshit.
This is why people are just soaking this up, because they don't understand equality versus equity. They think they're interchangeable, and they're not.
They are not. Not the same thing. Not at all the same thing.
Equality, like Mike said, says you have an equal chance. Boss looks at the resumes of both candidates, has to make a decision because there's only one opening, but you both had the same opportunity to submit your resume, to type out your resume however you deemed best showcased your abilities and your work history. And then in the interview process, you had the same opportunity to answer the questions given you to the best of your abilities to get the job. Now he's sitting there. I have to give this job to one person because that's all I have room for, financially and physically. I choose candidate B because the interview went really nice and their qualifications are right where I need them.
Mm-hmm. And to be perfectly clear, equality means it doesn't matter if you're different or not, you're given the same opportunity. So it doesn't matter what skin color you are, what your education level is, any of those things. You can still go apply. And your experience, your life, the decisions you've made throughout your life might affect whether or not you actually get the job. But the opportunity was given to you to apply.
Yes.
To make the effort.
Now, in that same situation, equity says the employer has to hire both of you because it has to meet a certain demographic.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the employer can't afford both of you. So the employer ends up paying both of you less. But you're both getting paid the same.
But they have a minimum wage, so he can't actually pay both of you less. So he doesn't hire either of you. He just does the work himself. Or he goes out of business.
Equity. And it continues.
Equity is completely and utterly unsustainable. We should not ever be attempting to go for equity. What we should be focusing on is equality, because there are inequalities in the world.
Equal opportunity does not mean equal outcome.
But yes, equal opportunity does not mean equal outcome, and our focus should be on maintaining equality, not pushing for equity, because equity inevitably leads to oppression. Of one person or another, somebody gets oppressed in order to try to boost the other person.
Yep.
It just happens.
And here's something that stood out to me. Yet civic and history education has eroded in the U.S. over the past 50 years, and opportunities to learn these subjects are inequitably distributed.
Notice they said inequitably, not inequally.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And also the past 50 years. So let's see. 50 years ago was 1970, which is about the time that the Communist Manifesto, or not the Communist Manifesto, the thing that was read in Congress.
The points of the communist takeover, whatever.
Yeah, communist takeover of the United States.
Yes.
When all of those were a thing. And part of that was something about disrupting education and, all that stuff. You can, if you really want a refresher, or if you haven't heard it before, we have a couple episodes on it. It's, but why Marxism? Oh, that's why Marxism. Yeah. Speaking of, in that, there is a part of it where we talk about Black Lives Matter, because it was a hot topic at the time, and it's what sparked it for us. And they changed their website because in their website, one of their goals was to dismantle the Western prescribed nuclear family. And so they scrubbed that once they started getting heat for it. But they're actually behind the whole critical race theory thing going around in schools. And part of their stated goals there, we'll post the link, is to dismantle the Western prescribed nuclear family.
Oh, but I think you forgot that they took that out.
They took that out of blacklivesmatter.com or org or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right. But if you go to you know what? Whatever. We're here.
Maybe they forgot that they didn't.
If you go to Black Lives Matter school, there are 13 guiding principles. They're very similar to the actual Black Lives Matter things. But then right here, we are committed to dismantling the patriarchal practice that requires mothers to work. Black villages, we are committed to disrupting the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families and villages that collectively care for one another, and especially our children, to the degree that mothers, parents, and children are comfortable. Your children, you mean our children.
Also, go back to that last one because you didn't finish that sentence. We are committed to dismantling the patriarchal practice that requires mothers to work double shifts that require them to mother in private, even as they participate in justice work. So literally what you're saying there is that you're upset that mothers have to be mothers?
Or they're upset that, I took this as, they're upset that some mom is working a double shift.
Because she's working and then she's going home to be a mom. That's what they're saying.
Right.
She's working and then she's going home to be a mom.
They're
not upset about her working. They're upset about her being a mom.
Right. And when she could be participating in justice work. I also took that as they want to get rid of the patriarchal practice that mothers are working double shifts, in that there's a lot of single mothers that are working actual double shifts to take care of their kids because dad left them.
But that's not a patriarchal practice because that legitimately is lacking the male portion of.
But with how twisted everything is today, I would not put it past them anyone to interpret it that way. It's a single mother thing because it's part of the patriarchy of, they just leave the mom to fend for themselves. That's what the patriarchy does.
Yeah, because that's what your society has.
Because that's what you allow Democrat-run
them
cities to tell them.
Because it doesn't matter if you have sex and have a kid out of wedlock. It doesn't matter if you sleep around a bunch. Doesn't matter if you're a playa. In fact, it's kind of aggrandized in their eyes. I mean, how many rap songs are there about sleeping with hoes and banging randoms and whatever, however the hell they say it these days.
However they say it these days.
No, seriously, man. I had one of my nieces walk up to me the other day and say something. I still don't know what the hell it was, but I asked her how she was, and she said there was words that came out of her mouth, and I was just like, oh, okay. You having a seizure? Is this what a seizure looks like? Because those words that you said don't make any sense in that order.
So there was where are you, Washington? They talk about Washington in here, George Washington.
Right there.
Yeah. I'm hovering over it.
You are.
They say, yet students can make it into their teens without knowing, for instance, that George Washington not only was a foundational leader, the founding father.
Yeah.
The founding father. He was the father of the country. But also enslaved people.
They forget the part where he freed his...
Firstly, enslaved people. George Washington was over there in Africa just chaining them up and shipping them overseas.
Is that what happened?
Apparently, they have all the scholars and all that stuff.
That's not how I remember it happening.
That's not how I remember it happening either. I remember it happening in that he inherited his slaves from his father, so he did not enslave them. So there's that. And then he actively worked to change the laws of Virginia so that slaves could be freed, so that there would be no slavery in Virginia.
Maybe we should write to them and tell them, because I think they forgot that.
Didn't forget. Just don't care.
They don't.
They don't care.
And then we are fortunate to live in a time when historical narratives, well supported by evidence, can point the agency of those who experience oppression and dominion. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, well supported by evidence.
Such as the Federalist Papers, the Founding Fathers Journals,
the Constitution of the United States that
in
you're
the United
celebrating that
States,
says the federal government guarantees each state a Republican form of government.
Oh. It's almost as if they're trying to state that they have all of these things that they're backing up what they're saying with, that they don't actually have, that are backing up what they're saying.
Yeah, they're citing nothing. A lot of this has a people of the world, so how to be a world citizen, basically.
Very globalist of them.
Yeah.
A new government and constitution.
I thought of that first, but it's actually about the founding.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because it was a new government and it had never been done before.
Right. It was. Beautiful. It is beautiful.
And it has not been duplicated since, because people are idiots and don't actually study the history of the founding of America. Otherwise, France would be free.
It's like chopping a good onion. It's enough to bring a tear to your eye.
This one was fun. A comparison between the current state standards and this standard for we the people. Instead of current state standards listing historical and civic events such as Constitutional Convention, 3 branches of government, Shays Rebellion, Theme 3 asks, how did the institution of enslavement and practice of indigenous removal and even extermination affect national unity in the United States? What?
Because it's all part of the plan.
What does that have to do with Constitutional Convention or 3 branches of government or Shays Rebellion? What?
It's because that question is replacing the actual learning about the 3 branches of government, Shays Rebellion, or Constitutional Convention.
Don't learn about how the Constitution was
You're not going
made.
to learn about the Constitutional Convention. You're going to learn about how mechanisms of majority vote interacted with minority protecting mechanisms over time.
Or why does
Which
a society
just sounds like a yawn.
Why does a society need shared rules, and what do rules do? How do I understand so don't tell the stories. Whatever you do, don't tell
stories.
history.
Don't actually teach history in a history class.
Ask stupid questions to disenfranchised students that much more from American history. How do I understand the perspectives of other and build bridges between different points of view? It will pay off for them, because there's a bunch of idiots walking around with masks while they're by themselves outside because the government said that's what you need to do.
No, you look like an idiot.
Constitutional democracy.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
I thought this said asses.
It does.
They spelled it wrong. Assess, reflect, and improve.
Asses reflect and improve.
Practice of constitutional democracy and student agency. Yes. Yes. And then down here,
the 5 design challenges.
So we are on page 17 now. We've gone through 16 pages. Some of that was introduction, blah, blah, blah. 16 pages learning about this constitutional democracy.
This is only halfway through.
It's a 34-page thing. We're not doing the whole thing, don't worry. This is pretty much where we're ending. But you get halfway through, and then they throw in this curveball: motivating agency, sustaining the republic. Wait, what?
You've been telling me this whole time it's a democracy, and now you're telling
Now
me
it's a republic.
it's a republic? But they only do that for about a half a sentence.
This is the first time, aside from the a quote at the top, the cover page, and in the introduction thing, this is the first time republic shows up in the entire document. And there's 18 more times it shows up after this. But it's nice though, because they clarify right here. How can we help students become engaged citizens who also sustain civil disagreement, civil friendship, and thus American constitutional democracy? But what's this republic thing? What is that? What is it? There's another part in here that I found where they wrote a sentence as a paragraph, and then they copied that into the next paragraph. So I thought I had a stroke for a second because of how dumb this is. But then I realized, no, they're dumb, and they just copied and pasted the same sentence right after each other. But, all the experts and stuff looked at this and said it's cool. That's what's happening. That's what's going on.
Who are you who are so wise in the ways of science?
I'm Arthur.
I just follow the science.
Just follow the science.
That's where it takes me.
You're
It takes
just mad
me
because
I only believe in science.
if you go to their website, they do have a submission form where you can submit stuff. So
I would say that if we had a massive listener base, even with this listener base, you should go
spam
to
them
their
with
thing and spam them with links to purchase books on actual history, such as books on the Constitution, books on the Founding Fathers, like real books, not
real books.
This Bolsheviks.
Real books that
the
actually
Federalist
have
Papers.
Real books that actually have citations. For example, David Barton did I think it was his Jefferson Lies book.
Yes.
In it, he's got all the sources he could find to debunk the various myths and lies and whatever, or confirm the myths and lies and whatever about Thomas Jefferson.
I believe it's in a box over there.
The one that
you
my
loaned
copy
me?
that I gave
Yes,
you that you haven't read yet.
Yes.
Okay.
I started it.
Oh, good.
I'm in like chapter 2.
Good.
I probably need to start it over again.
Need some more pictures in there.
It's not enough pictures. I need it in digital version, like somebody reading it to me.
Oh, no, it wasn't that book. It was his something like America's Christian Heritage or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about the Constitution, the Christian backing behind it, citing all of the Founding Fathers' documents behind why they did what they did, and their Christian reasoning behind all of that.
I think I'm going to send them a copy of Glenn Beck's Arguing with Socialists, because that is a picture book.
They might be able to get through that one.
They might be able to get through that one.
But anyways, so David Barton writes this book, and we did David Barton last week too. That's part of the Wikipedia thing.
Yep. Yeah, we did.
That's what led us to debunk Wikipedia. But anyway, so he did this book, and then instantly it was met with criticism from, all these uppity up scholars and university professors, whatever. And they wrote a book that's America's Godless Constitution, I believe is the book. And in the back of the book, where you would find all the citations, it's written by a couple of universities professors, so citations galore, I'm sure, to debunk David Barton, who has his citations throughout the book, so you can follow along. Like John Adams said this. Here's how you find that citation. In the back of the book, it says something to the effect of, we have dismissed with a standard practice of citations because it's just common knowledge that the founders were not Christian inspired to write a constitution. So you mean to tell me, Professor, that the next time you ask me to write an essay or even write my whatever it's called to get your degree. Thesis. I don't need to put citations because everyone just knows that's the way it is. Well, no, you still have to do citations if you want a passing grade. But you can submit a, quote, historical, end quote, book with 0 citations to anything at all historically related. And that's fine. I'm sure this project used Wikipedia for their sources.
It's all coming together.
Wikipedia is going to be our running joke, I think, for for a minute.
Probably.
But yeah, that's my frustrations. That I feel like I kept it pretty well under control.
Stop it. Get some help.
Yeah. It's driving me crazy because freaking I just want to be at home and play video games. That's all I want to do. Don't get me wrong. Like I said before, I love doing this podcast. I'd rather not spend the entire time
being mad
at things that should be common sense, that should be figured out with critical thinking. But apparently, according to Washington Post, New York Times, whoever it was last week, that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to just trust the experts that can't even type a report properly, and all they do is copy and paste the same sentence over and over again. Nor can they read the documents that they're talking about that say that what they're saying is wrong. Just believe them because they got it all under control.
And that's the funny thing is, that's literally what they say is, just believe us. We're just going to do this, and this is going to be good, and this is what you should think, and this is what you should believe.
Trust me, I'm a doctor.
Trust me, I'm a doctor.
And I don't even play one on TV. Well, in Fauci's case, he does. He's on camera all the time. But
and then there's the rest of us that are just like, you know what? I mean, I could be wrong. Why don't you go read?
Yeah.
Go look at things.
Here's where we found things that made us form our opinion.
And here's things that we read that were contradicting what we said, but here's the other thing that debunks that, and here's this that goes along with it. Here's the original piece. Like, seriously.
And this isn't hard research we're doing. This is just looking at stuff. Last week, the Wikipedia thing. We just followed links in Wikipedia and debunked Wikipedia.
Literally, live, while we were on the show.
Like, well, that leads to this.
Well, that leads to this. Where does that go? Oh, so this means this and this. Oh,
so it's bad. Oh,
yes.
So it's wrong. 5 minutes. And that's technically not even critical thinking doing that. That's just it's just following a breadcrumb trail. Fat breadcrumbs.
It's clicking. It's clickbait.
Following loaves of bread.
Loaves. They've have foregone with the
they didn't
the
have
crumbs,
time to break it into
so
crumbs.
They just threw the entire loaf out.
Loaves of bread for you to follow.
They're not even trying to hide things anymore. It's just like,
Yeah, one of the stories that we'll have on our things is a principal in Tennessee is suspended without pay because of something terrible that he said in a online class thing.
Well, Dr. Seuss has been canceled, so
right.
At least 6 of his books.
The terrible, awful thing that the principal said was he cautioned students to be wary of people and organizations that will silence you for the things that you say. And he was thusly silenced by the...
For a thing that he said.
Yeah.
Oh, I see how that went.
So, in Inadvertently, the principal just told the students to not trust the school district. Because the school district
then did exactly what he was warning them that people would try to do to them.
Yeah.
Huh.
But hey, your freedoms are not being taken
Not
away.
at all. Not infringed.
No.
It's not infringement. It's
Which is why you were able
federal law.
Which is why you were able to go and rent out an assembly hall and have 500 people in that. Oh, no, you can't do that. Well, you can still go to church with your entire congregation. Oh, you can't.
I still maintain that alcohol, tobacco, and firearms should be a convenience store.
Yes.
In fact, someday I might create that convenience store.
I don't know why you stop there, though, because they also do explosives. Alcohol, tobacco, firearms, explosives.
Why stop there? Why not add farming equipment? It's
one-stop shop.
One-stop shop. It's a bold strategy.
That's all I got. That's if I say more, we'll be here for 2 more hours.
Well, then don't say the word more. Just keep going.
Which I would be fine with. I'm fine to rattle my mouth for a few hours because this is how I relieve my stress. But you guys probably don't want to listen to me
that rant
for that long. Also, my mouth will get too dry.
Get parched. Little parched. All right. Well. Summarize it all up. The world's gone crazy. That's pretty much it.
That's putting it lightly.
Well, I did say summarize.
Yeah. Bat crap crazy.
But it's okay because we just need to forgive them.
Do you hear that? That's the sound of forgiveness.
That's the sound of people drowning, Carl.
That is what forgiveness sounds like. Screaming and then silence.
All right. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the
Share,
fun
blah,
things.
blah,
Share,
blah.
blah, blah, blah. Rate us 5 stars. That is the best number of stars that you should give to us.
Number.
It's the only acceptable
You
one.
can degrade us in your review, the actual typed out review.
Yeah, say whatever you want in the review. Just leave the 5 stars.
Yeah, that's all
that's
we ask.
important. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Bye.
I apologize profusely. I love how that's always said in like a dead flat tone.
It's not somber. It's not anything.
It's not like, I'm so sorry. I apologize profusely. No, it's, I apologize profusely. You sound so sorry, you selfish son of a bitch.
I could not be more apologetic than I am right now.
I could not possibly be more apologetic than I am right now. And you can tell by the tone of my voice, which is a cool, calm, refreshing sea breeze.